Welcome to the Choosing Happiness podcast with me, your host, Rudrani Devi, the Happiness Lady. In these conversations, we will be discussing an uncommon way to find joy in your life with weekly special guests. Did you know you could choose your happy? Won't you come and play and discover how these magical tools could work for you? Let's do this. Well, howdy, y'all. Rudrani Devi, the Happiness Lady. I even wrote a book about it. Choosing Happiness, an uncommon way to find joy in your life. Shameless plug, I know. Thank you so much for joining us on the podcast, listeners now and in the future. Today, I have a very special guest. He is making my smile prettier and prettier than this already. It's incredible. Without further ado, please welcome my guest. Do I say doctor? You're a doctor, aren't you?
Yeah.
Dr.
I think so.
Jono Gluck. And
Thank
the crowd
you.
goes, well,
Oh, I can't believe it's him.
he's infamous. I mean,
He's here.
such a
Yeah,
handsome
I'm
thing
glad.
too, you guys. If you're not on the YouTube watching, just get off of Apple right now and jump over to YouTube. Do yourself a favor, because this is one handsome man.
Oh, thank you.
Handsome. So, and he's had his hands in my mouth.
Yeah.
Anyway,
We have a
we should
very
probably-
special relationship.
yes, we do. So yeah, let's actually tell the folks a little bit about you, if you don't mind, and your profession that connected the two of us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, my story basically goes back to I was born and raised in Nashville. I come to orthodontics really through my dad, who's also an orthodontist. He and I practiced together. So I really had the advantage of growing up in the business and seeing what it was like to have a dad who was an orthodontist. And what I thought at the time when I was in college and really thinking about this as a career is that he and I were very similar. Turns out that we're actually not that similar, and I'm actually a lot more like my mom than I am my dad, which I think my like prefrontal cortex had to fully mature until I was able to make the connection and really spend time with both of them professionally, because my mom worked at our practice for a long time as well. But as I got older and I matured and became more of a professional, I realized, I'm actually a lot more like my mom than I am like my dad. But, all that being said, I was able to really be raised with a dad who was a huge part of our community, was able to help so many people, but also have family be, number one forever, pretty much. He was always there for us, family, family first. And so that was kind of the values that I was raised with. And when I saw, what kind of life he was able to have and the difference he was able to make it with people and what I really wanted for myself, it really seemed like a good match, even though, at work, I would say we're two very different people, which actually works out because we blend together really nicely. But when I was a kid, I was like, oh, we're a lot alike. And now it turns out we're not that much alike.
Probably not alike at all, Dad. No, that's hilarious that you say that, because here you are doing this practice with your dad. Yeah. This assumption of, we'll work so well together, and it's not that you guys don't, because it's. Yeah. I mean, I love the energy at your office. All your employees are so personable, and and I'm super happy about getting my teeth straight. I mean, I had receding gums because, you guys, some of you already know this because I've mentioned it. I'm obsessive and compulsive when it comes to this face. Like, I want my teeth to be perfect. I want my eyebrows to be perfect. I want my lashes to be, and I don't even wear makeup. I wear eyeliner when I'm on stage performing as a singer-songwriter. And I always have the lipstick on. It's very important to me. But, skin, teeth, all the stuff. So I went and got that gum surgery because I overbrushed my teeth because I was so obsessive about teeth brushing and flossing and all the things. And what I didn't know was going to happen, y'all, is that all my teeth was going to be crooked because I'd already had braces three times. So I come to Dr. Gluck's office, basically as a referral from the doctor that took care of my gums. Sure. And I immediately felt comfortable. I thought I was just going to get a consultation. I think I actually met you that day. And I was like,
I think
look, the bottom teeth are moving, but we could start with the top teeth and then put a brace. It's like I'm telling him how to do his job, y'all. And he keeps saying, we're not going to do the bottoms. They're too loose. I said, no, we're going to do the bottom. It's going to happen. Yeah. I want to show you guys. For those of you that are watching on YouTube, look at the bottom here. That's amazing. So for those
Yeah.
of you that will see this in the future, they won't look like that no more.
Yeah.
And now the top teeth, they're perfectly straight and all the things. So when you say, okay, going back, I know I'm ADD, I'm all over the place.
Sure.
Going back to this piece about you being more like your mama, because
Yeah.
and she used to work there. Because I was going to say, well, what job does she
Correct.
do? Would you wanted to do her job? But evidently, she was also working.
Right. 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 Yeah. So she, long story short, my dad for the probably first 15 or 20 years of his career was, he had the team, but for most of the business administrative side of things, he was kind of a one-man show. So he was functioning as the doctor, but he was also paying the bills and ordering the supplies and,
Oh, wow.
managing the back office stuff. And I think for a lot of sole practitioners and small business owners, that can be a pretty big task. And so thankfully, that is an area that my mom excels in.
Oh,
She's very type A, very, very detailed, number focused. And so I'm actually one of four. And when my youngest sister, Sarah, went off to boarding school in high school, my mom was, became an empty nester and was looking for something to do. And my dad was looking for some things to not do. And the two of them decided to work together, which is actually a pretty common thing. A lot of dentists and orthodontists will have a significant other or spouse that will work in the practice. Obviously, it's great just from a trust standpoint. So my mom really took on a lot of the, office management, taking care of the financial side of things, and then just became the person that did all the stuff no one else wanted to do or no one else thought to do, and
I
stuff
have
like
those
that.
people too.
Yeah,
Let me just show up, y'all.
great.
I'll just show up. Please take care of everything else.
Yep, absolutely. They are the glue that holds things together and really allowed my dad to do what he does best, which is be the doctor and be the relationship person. If I think if it was up to him, he would just spend all day, bouncing from one patient to the next, talking and really getting to know people, which is honestly one of the things that makes our practice special. So he was able to rely on my mom to really, manage all the things that he no longer wanted to do and probably wasn't that great at doing. So, but where I fit in is I'm very much more of a, run on time. I don't like to deviate. I like to get to know people and talk, but I always have that, be on time, stick to the schedule, type thing where he could just, he could just
You're
go off
very
and
pragmatic. I will say that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I have a little bit of that myself, but I'm also really, this is going to sound weird, y'all. I really like engaging with people. Doesn't mean I
Yeah,
like people. Don't
sure,
get me
sure,
wrong.
sure.
But I mean, I like some people. There's some people I'm not crazy about, but I like engaging with all of them. I'm that
Yeah, absolutely.
curious, And I see your dad. I mean, I hadn't engaged with him at all until
Yeah,
very recently. You
yeah,
weren't in the office, and so you had to take over. And he was so personable. And this is why I was like, that's your dad? Yeah, because
yeah.
initially I was going to interview him because he was just so funny and personable.
Oh,
And I
yes.
saw the way he was with, because y'all, I'm like this old lady going inside, I'm gonna pardon that old lady going in to get this fixed for the
Mm,
fourth time. And there's all these
sure.
really young kids. I feel like I stick out like a sore thumb because and they
Sure.
have ice cream and candy. And I'm like, gosh, you know what? My dentist wouldn't be into, you're doing
Yeah.
exactly the things to
Yeah.
rot these
Yeah.
teeth, like what we're told we're going to rot our teeth. If you have good teeth maintenance like me, other than receding gum line from being a little too over maintenance-y,
Sure.
then you can handle. I've never had a cavity.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, I would say, when I was growing up, my dad's practice was probably 96% kids. Very few adults were
Hmm.
going through orthodontics because nobody wanted braces as an adult. But now with Invisalign and clear aligners, our practice is probably 50-50 adults and kids. So if you come in on a typical day, there you go. We may have
Have
patients
it
as
out because
young
I'm
as
drinking
7
coffee
or
right
8.
now. But
Yeah,
I
that's
have it
right.
in a lot. But when I'm drinking
Yep,
coffee, I don't like brown retainers. So
that's right. And we may have patients, certainly in their 50s, 60s, 70s, a couple in their 80s, which makes the feel of the office so different. And honestly, I think makes it great because you get this really nice mix, kind of people all across, all ages that are coming in for their appointments.
right. That's wonderful. And obviously word of mouth is not hurting you guys at all. Because
Yeah,
I've mentioned where I'm getting it done, because I'm that person, if I believe in something,
sure.
I'll sell the shit out of it, because I have
Yeah,
referred you guys so many times. I'm like, oh my gosh,
yeah.
it's so fun going in there. And the last time I went in there, y'all, I had just had a very big birthday. And the girl was asking, what'd you do this weekend? Because this was Monday, and my birthday was like the day before on a Sunday,
Sure.
October 1st. And I said, well, I just had a big birthday. She said, really? That's so cool. And then she comes out at the end with this little container, and it's got
Yeah.
all the orthodontist things in there, plus like a $10 gift card to coffee, where I have to pull this back out again. And,
Yeah.
Candy. And then right before I walk out the door, she goes, do you want an ice cream? And that's how I discovered you had this giant
Oh yeah.
freezer with all these different.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, no wonder everybody likes coming here.
I
Y'all get
know.
all the goodies. And then they have
That's
these
right.
drawings too, where that if you can guess how many pieces of gum or something are in a
Yeah.
thing, you get to have it. And where did all that come from? I've never seen anything
I,
like
just great ideas through the years, and we've got this awesome network of orthodontist friends all around the country that we kind of share fun stuff with. Ultimately, it's about making it a fun experience. Thankfully, we're not doing, brain surgery or anything, so we're able to have a little bit more of a lighter side of things at the office. But for kids, it's a rite of passage, and there's certainly a level of anxiety and stress around going to
that.
get their teeth looked on. And I mean, I personally don't love going to the dentist. I don't like people poking around in my mouth, so we try to
Really?
find a way to try to find a way to just put people at ease and make it fun. And ultimately, if people come in and they feel like they were taken care of and we did something to brighten their day, then that's what we're going for.
I love it. The one thing that I noticed right away, y'all, is when I walked in the door, I looked to the left, and there's this, because you'd mentioned family earlier. And
Yeah,
there's this picture on the left. I think it's the dad and son or something. And then I look
yeah,
over, I walk in a little bit further, I look over to the right. And then as I'm going around, like I had the x-rays that one day, it was the whole hallway had all
yeah,
these pictures. And I wondered, are these clients, or are they other orthodontists, or where did they,
yeah,
because you had to have known them all. And then I saw the picture of your dad with family, and I should have looked
yeah,
closer and noticed you, but I did not.
yeah. Yeah, all the pictures are past patients. And one of the cool things is we have our room where we take all of our clinical photos, and we have a tradition when someone finishes their braces or their Invisalign, they always do a fun picture with me or my dad. And then we print it out and we put them up on the wall. So that way people can see their friends when they come in. And that's always really cool for people to see.
Yeah, it looks like, you're going to a movie premiere, you guys, because it has their
Yeah.
has their logo on the back, like
Yeah.
separated by 12 inches or something. And then
Yeah.
the camera's already set up there, and so I wondered about that. I
Yeah.
thought, well, I wonder if I'm going to get that once.
Oh,
My
yeah.
last
Yeah.
day, I better
You'll
make sure
definitely be
this is
doing
all
that.
looking good, so that,
That's right.
all the things. That is so funny. Well, I want
Totally.
to talk a little bit more about what brought you into this business, because I already
Yeah.
know it's creating a lot of happy, but we need to take a short station identification break for
Mhm.
our sponsor, Mandu, you guys. Mandu, the electrocution workout. And you're like, what do you mean, Rudrani? Well, if you watch this little infomercial or listen, you'll get the rest of the story. So we'll be right back.
Mandu is a boutique fitness studio concept, and we are actually the first FDA cleared EMS training workout. And what we do essentially is that we will have a client come in, we will hook them up to a whole body EMS suit, and then we perform a workout on a medical grade device called an eFit device. And that device will send an electrical current to their body through electrodes in these suits that we put on them. And this electrical current is just basically stimulating the electrical current that you already have inside your body. So everybody is made up of electrical impulses. It's what helps you walk, helps you move. We're tapping into that and making it stimulate it more to where we can cause a muscle to actually contract involuntarily. So we can actually create resistance without adding a load to the body. So that is why we, as you see online, it always says ultra low impact. It is scientifically proven. It is absolutely ultra low impact.
And we're back with Dr. Jono Gluck. Bum, bum, bum. The happiest maker that actually makes our smiles
Yeah,
come to life. Yeah,
that's me.
that's you. I'm so grateful for you. You have no idea. So, and I'm so lucky that they're only like 5 minutes from my house too. So it's like,
Yeah,
because Nashville is not easy to get around, y'all. I mean, you're a native Nashvilleian.
that's right.
And are you surprised by how everyone from around the world wants to live here now?
I'm not surprised that people want to live here. My mind is blown every time I drive around the city because I live in Green Hills, I work in Green Hills, my kids go to school around there, so my, you know, week to week bubble is pretty much in this area. But
Mhm.
when we go downtown or Germantown or East Nashville or whatever,
It's great.
it's mind blowing. It's almost like a new huge building goes up every 3 months, which is amazing. But
Yeah,
um,
it's
you know that
crazy. I felt
yeah,
like I had started the trend because I moved my elderly mother in with me. So I'm her
yeah,
caregiver now. So I think I moved back in 2018 because what I did is I gutted my house and I added on to the back of it. And I told all my neighbors what I was doing because I didn't want them to get pissed. So I'm going to move my mom in because I promised her that she could die in my home and not in a, you
yeah.
know, assisted living facility. So, and she's fun. Well, she's not, she's cranky sometimes, but I love her. She's my
She's
wife
earned
now.
that right, I guess.
Yeah, she's now my wife, and that's okay. Fuck that. Okay, so anyway, I'm so glad I did it when I did it. And then I
Yeah.
thought I started a trend because there's literally 5 houses now that have been knocked down.
Oh yeah.
New ones are replacing them. And the thing about it is because I live in Oak Hill Estates,
Yeah.
fancy, right?
Yeah.
Only one house on one lot. So at least it's not,
Uh-huh.
quads
Two
they're
and one.
building. I mean, who wants to live? But personally, this is my point of view. I wouldn't want to live behind somebody else's house in the same plot and have
Totally.
to share a driveway to get to a garage. But I guess for all them city folk coming in, that's a lot
Yeah.
nicer than living in a condo
Yeah.
or whatever. So, whatever floats your boat, I guess. So you're a native Nashvilleian.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so well, that's kind of interesting, isn't it? Okay, because there's not many of you. You are a very rare species.
Yeah, I mean, we used to go out to dinner and we'd know most of the people who were at whatever restaurant we're going to. Now it's not the case. But the great thing is, as the city has grown, so many amazing people have moved here.
Yeah.
And even just my wife and I, like our closest friends now, more than half of them are couples that have moved, usually like either right before the pandemic or during the pandemic,
Mhm.
from New York or California or Chicago, stuff like that. So the people that have moved here, I think it's been a great benefit to the city.
I think so too. I mean, a lot of people have a different point of view about that. I mean, I know that my plumbing and everything and electricity was being taxed. I had to buy a generator because
Yeah,
I worked a lot online. Even before the pandemic, I was doing
sure.
Zoom calls. In fact, our company or the organization or the movement that I work for, Access Consciousness, we're in 179 countries. So we
Mm-hmm.
were doing Zooms with thousands of people on them, like
Sure.
maybe 10 translations. So all
Yeah.
these
Wow.
rooms piggybacking on other rooms where
Sure.
the translator would use their phone to do the translation because they'd be watching the English, and then they'd have their computer set up where they could do the translation in real time. And
Yeah.
they reached out to us and asked us how we were doing it because they
Yeah.
were blown up so quickly. But
That's
I
incredible.
digress. I digress. A lot of people really kind of hate Zoom now because they were forced to go there. But I personally love it. We're on Zoom right now, actually. Um,
Sure.
yeah, and I'll tell you my favorite thing about all these people moving into town
Yeah.
is
What's that?
cuisine, because
Oh,
I'm a foodie
100%.
of magnitude.
What are some of your favorite places?
Oh my goddess. Well, there's ECT in Green Hills.
Sure. I just had lunch there
They
2 weeks
have,
ago. Mhm.
yeah, I love the chef used to work, oh my God, at a place that I used to sing. I was
Mhm.
in an all-girl band called the Paper Dolls, and they had us set up in the window where you saw the back of us.
Okay.
You could get beaners there, and I'm trying to think of what it was called. Shit, I can't believe I forgot the name. But that's where I
Uh,
met her. She's close to my age, and that's
okay.
where culinary stuff got started.
Yeah.
And then she now has Etch,
Yeah.
ETCH in
It's
town.
not Deb Paquette, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Because I mean I don't know her, but I
Yeah.
knew her name from Etch, downtown, and then she's been around for a little while.
Yeah, yeah. I met her in the 80s when I was in this
Okay.
band. So, and so we realized we actually knew each other from that time, because for a while I started bartending too, because I had a bartender that was stealing. So they
Uh,
were, can you just fill in? These are really easy drinks, blah, blah, blah. And
yeah,
back
yeah,
then drinks were easy,
sure.
ETC. I like to go because I'm a gin drinker, y'all, and
Uh-huh.
they make the best freaking cocktails. So
Yeah.
that's one place. I love Green Hills Grill. I saw you there.
Okay. Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
pretty
Yeah. That's right
consistent
below
and
our
all that.
office.
I'm naming all the places really close to where I live, because if I'm going to go
Mhm.
downtown, I'm going to take an Uber,
Yeah.
because
Good call.
that's a different, and I don't like people trying to park my car. I like my car too much for that. So, all the things. So you're one of four. No one else wanted to go into the family business?
No, no, we've got my older brother runs a company in Miami. I'm number two, and I have two younger sisters. Number three, Hannah, she lives in Atlanta. She's a PA in like a cardiovascular ICU, like intensive care.
Oh, wow.
And then
Oh,
the youngest, Sarah, lives in New York, and she's a personal shopper. So a
oh,
little bit
goodness.
of everything. We've got good
That's,
places to visit.
that's wonderful. Okay, I'm actually a personal shopper too. I don't know if you knew that.
No, no, that's
Because
great.
I talk to bodies. Bodies whisper to me and say, because I can look. Well, I used to be a film producer,
Uh-huh,
and
sure.
I represented several directors. And when we had
Okay.
really low budgets, what I would do
Yeah.
is take the artist and manager to this place called Nashville Showroom, which used to be
Hmm.
exclusive. It was a tiny thing, but they let me come in and we would dress the people. So I got to where I
Okay.
knew body shapes, shoes.
Sure.
The body will tell you what it wants to wear. Because you notice when you put on something you really enjoy wearing, your body kind of goes,
Yeah.
you kind of
Yeah,
puff out
yeah,
your
yeah.
chest,
You
all the
get that
things.
feel.
It's so much fun. I have people that they have to come to Nashville, but I have them
Mhm.
fly into Nashville, and I always take them to Nashville Showroom. Shout out to Nashville Showroom and a few other places that I've already become
Sure.
friends with. So I love it. She must be very stylish.
She's incredibly stylish. She's a great resource for sure.
I bet this is what happens. Correct me if I'm wrong. So you guys go for a visit. You're out all day. You've been shopping or whatever, because that's what you would do with a sister who's a personal shopper, and New York. Hello, by the way. And then y'all make plans for dinner, and she's like, well, I've got to go home and wash up and change. Is that her?
She's always put together, we'll put it that way. Yeah, for sure.
It's like, I
Um,
did, this were my shopping clothes. Now we're going out. I got to get in my going out to dinner clothes. So,
she's got wonderful taste. Whenever I want to get a gift for my wife or something, she's a great resource for that.
ooh, alrighty then. Well, when she comes to visit y'all in Nashville, I want to
Yeah,
meet her.
yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I do make it to New York occasionally. She could show me around.
Oh
So
yeah.
that's cool. All right. So let's get back to the business, because I'm curious. What's something where you change somebody's world with what you do? Because that's what drives us, right? It's like, I love
Yeah,
facilitating classes. I love these podcasts. I love writing books. I'm just
sure.
finishing my fourth book. So what was there a moment where you were like, wow, I made the right choice? This is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple things, anytime orthodontic treatment is connected to a big life event, that's always really special. So we treat a lot of people who are going to get married. And obviously, we always make them promise that they'll send us wedding pictures and stuff like that. So that's always one of the most rewarding things is, when we've treated a bride or a groom and you see these incredibly beautiful wedding photos with their smiles. That obviously makes you feel really good. The thing that's, I think, most rewarding for me now, I've been doing this, it'll be 9 years in May, so call it 8.5 years.
Giddy
Is
up,
some of the patient, what's that? I know.
giddy
Uh,
up.
that's right.
You must
Uh,
love it, because that's a long time to be doing one thing, but it's never one thing because it's
yeah,
some people.
it's a lot of people, but the great thing is, some of the patients that I first treated when I came out of school are now, let's see, if they were 13, 14 at that point, now they're just finishing college
Oh,
and
wow.
they're coming back and they're like adults now. And you get, you knew them as teens, whatever their personality was, but now they come back and they're these, you know, handsome guys, beautiful women. They're confident. They're so like, moving forward in life. And one of the things that our connects a lot with our practice, and just sort of ties back to treating people that are young or, adults or whatever, is just getting to be that positive influence at one point along their journey of life. But we have the advantage that we get to see them again when they come back.
Right.
And that to me is always the best part, because I never really feel like I get older. I sort of always feel like I'm, somewhere
You
a
don't look
couple
old
years.
enough to have children. I mean, I'm looking at you. You got the,
I feel like I just graduated from college a couple of years ago, and I kind of want to just stop and always sort of be in that moment. And
Mhm.
so when I feel like I'm not going anywhere, but everybody else is getting older and just growing and turning into these amazing people, and we just get to be this lifelong cheerleader for them, it's really, really cool. And we tell them, come back and visit and get ice
And they
cream.
do get ice cream. That's what I was gonna say.
I know.
We're
Not
back
that
from
many
the ice
people.
cream, Jono, not you.
You know what? That's totally fine. But that's always the best, because, some people, when they're teens, they're really excited about the journey, and some are just like, I just want this to be over. But
Right.
everyone who comes back, always, I think, with that, 5 or 6 year time gap, then they really appreciate it. And really, it's a gift that their parents gave them, or their grandparents, or someone else that was special in their life, that was like, look, I want to make this investment in your smile. And you may not recognize how special this is right now, but you will later. And so when we see them, and you can tell that the wheels have turned, and they know like what's been done for them, or what they've sort of done for themselves, that is really, really special. And we get to just share in that joy with them. And of course, we get excited. And, it's always funny when we see people out of the office. It's kind of like when they're younger, it's like they're seeing a teacher, at the
Right.
grocery store, and you don't expect them to be out. But then when they're adults, they, come over and give us a hug or a handshake, say, hey. And to me, that's one of the most rewarding things.
Have you ever not recognized somebody who came back? Like they changed so much. You're like, who
Every
are
once
you?
in a while. Yeah. Yes. I mean, I don't know if you think that, but like, there are some people who, as adults, they are literally an adult version of their child self.
Yeah.
And then there's some people who undergo this transformation, and, you kind of need to be reminded of who they are.
Like I went to my high school reunion last year, and I was so glad that they had the name tags with the way they used to look, because some of these people, I was like, this one guy came up to me and he was like, you were wild in high school. Remember that date we had? And I'm like, I'm looking
You're
at
like,
him going,
nope.
I don't remember you. My parents
Yeah.
didn't really let me date. I mean, I could go to parties with friends, but they were
Yeah.
very Catholic, Jono. And
Got it.
you couldn't date until you was 21. No, I'm just joking. It was
Yeah. It's funny you say that, because I always tell people my dad's expertise now, while it is orthodontics, it's also parenting advice. So anytime, one of the parents talks about prom, or their child going out on dates, or this or that,
Yeah.
that's when he'll like saddle up and give, a good 20 or 30-minute parenting lecture about having a child who wants to date or something like that. It's
Oh my
always
God. Did
funny
they
to
ask
listen.
him? He just volunteers, right? I'm sure.
Oh, he volunteers.
Yeah.
He volunteers. He's full of advice on, applying to college, parenting advice, like anything and everything.
I love it. He goes, he's full of parenting advice.
Yeah.
Something else, but he didn't say it. It's
Yeah.
funny because I know what you're talking about. When I was going to Catholic church with my family when I was young and expected to do all the things they did. I kept skipping. They had like classes before church for different grades, and I just kept skipping because I'd rather go to McDonald's and get me an ice cream, or an apple pie, right?
Yeah.
That's what I would do. Is like two of us would always go skip, and it finally got back to my mama that weren't doing that, so I had to do a deal and deliver with my family, and it was basically, you're either going to go take classes or you're going to go teach classes.
Yeah.
I started out assisting kindergarten and third grade, I think it was, and I ended up taking over the third grade class.
There you go. Yeah.
The first time I actually ever read my Bible, y'all, because I was like not into it. Okay, I just wanted to play. So I remember the same thing where I also sang the church choir.
Yeah.
And even when I moved away, I would come back and sing in the church choir for Christmas, and I would see those kids, every
Pretty
year.
cool.
getting older, and they
Yeah.
come up to me, and my given name is Varagona. I say, Miss Varagona, how are you, Miss Varagona? I'm like, oh my God, that's so funny,
Yeah.
And then one day I went back shortly after what had happened in India, so years had gone back, and then one of them came up to me with their kids
Oh,
and said, we were
yeah.
glued to TV and all
Uh-huh.
this stuff, and I'm like, wow, it was twins, boys.
Sure.
They were so handsome.
Yeah.
And their kids were beautiful, I was like, damn, it's so nice to see people turned out okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
know. It's really cool.
it is. Well, this has been such a delightful conversation. I'm
Great. Me
super
too.
grateful that you made the time to come on the
Absolutely.
podcast. So I got to ask you one question, though, because, I'm sure my listeners are dying to know.
I'm sure they are.
Yeah, Dr. Jono, what do you do to get your happy on? What's something you do for you that just,
Yeah.
you have a hobby, or, you like,
A couple hobbies. I love to read. I'll read pretty much anything and everything. I would say,
you should read this book. I heard it's really good.
yeah, I definitely, you should bring
Choosing
me one
Happiness.
when you come next time.
Okay.
You know, I would say sneaking away to the driving range to hit golf balls is probably something that I'll do.
Wow.
And I love to cook. I would say I'm really happy if find like a really cool recipe and I'm making dinner for, my family or friends or something like that. Cause,
Oh, when do you want to expect Celeste and I to be over tonight?
no,
There's
I'd
something
love
really
to.
sexy about a man cooking. I got to tell you right now.
Yeah,
That's my love language.
it's super fun. And, I actually was an assistant chef, when I was in college at a sorority house, which is a different story that's for when you invite me back.
Okay.
But that's really where I learned to cook and have always loved it. And, yeah, so, like this afternoon, we're going to do roast chicken for dinner and, maybe a couple other things. So I'll be really happy when it's 11:30. I'll be happy at about 5:30 with a glass of wine, making some roast chicken and chilling with the family.
That sounds wonderful. Yeah, we
Yeah,
always had dinner together as a family. It's so,
same.
and my mother and I do the same thing, although we don't sit at the table. I sit in front of the TV.
Yeah,
She sits at the table.
yeah.
But, I don't know. That's our time together, and we love it. What's your favorite go-to dish to make? I'm just curious.
Gosh, really anything. I mean, when it's summer, we'll cook on the grill. I've been using a lot of this. I don't know if you ever heard of peri peri spice. It's like a South African. I think it's like a South African seasoning. It's almost like not really like a buffalo or chili seasoning, but anyway, got it from this cookbook. So he did a lot of peri peri chicken on the grill. We'll do steaks. Last week I actually made homemade cinnamon rolls for the office team. That was pretty fun. So really anything and everything. I've got young kids, so I don't have that much time to like really sink into a multi-day
Sure.
recipe, but I'll take on anything.
I love it. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
just let us know what we need to bring.
Yeah, sounds good.
We'll bring the wine or the whiskey or whatever it is that you require. We'll go from
Both
there.
sound great.
Okay. I love it. Well, thank you again so much for being my
Thanks
guest.
for having me.
I'm going to make sure that we have the links
Great.
for the peeps, at least, that can get to you.
Sure.
Will find you if they need, just because I couldn't recommend any higher accolades. Their team
Thank you.
is
Thank you
spot
very much.
on, very friendly. Thank you so much. And you guys, if you're enjoying these podcasts, please hit the subscribe button. And if you know of anyone that could have benefited from this conversation, it could be a contribution for them, then please share. So that's all I got, Jono.
All good. Let's have a good Friday.
So until next time, y'all. Ciao, ciao for now. Thank you so much for choosing happiness. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, share, and give us a like. And if you want more happy, subscribe to the Choosing Happiness membership, where you can play directly with me, Rudrani Devi, the Happiness Lady. How does it get any better than that?